People often talk about exercise as if it's only about discipline, about pushing yourself to meet a certain standard, to walk faster or farther, to keep proving something. But the truth is, when you're in your 70s, walking becomes something deeper than that. It's no longer a competition with the younger version of yourself or with anyone else you might see passing by. It becomes a dialogue between you and your body, a conversation that asks for gentleness, patience, and listening. At 72, the 6 miles I walk every day are not about burning calories or breaking records. They're about honoring the simple fact that I can still move, that my legs still carry me, that my breath still keeps rhythm with the world around me. And that is no small gift. When we get older, the body doesn't behave the way it used to. Muscles tighten a little quicker, recovery takes a little longer, and even the shoes that once felt perfect might suddenly cause a pinch. It can be easy to see these changes as limitations, as if aging has stolen something from you. But what if it's not about loss at all? What if it's simply about learning a new kind of language? Your body's way of asking you to slow down, to notice, to adapt. There's a certain wisdom in these signals if we're willing to hear them. Think about it. When you were 30, you probably didn't pay much attention to how your knees felt after a long walk. Now perhaps you do. That's not weakness, that's awareness. And awareness is one of the greatest strengths you can carry into this stage of life. I often remind myself that walking isn't just about the steps I take. It's about the state of mind I carry while taking them. Some days I walk quickly, enjoying the feeling of energy flowing through me. Other days I move slower, pausing to notice a tree I've passed 100 times before but never really seen. Both ways of walking are valuable because both meet me exactly where I am that day. Maybe that's something to ask yourself gently. Do you walk to reach a destination, or do you walk to feel alive along the way? There is no wrong answer, only the invitation to notice. And when you begin to notice, you may find that even the smallest details, how the air feels on your skin, how your heartbeat steadies with each step, become little reminders that life is still moving beautifully within you. I find that comforting, don't you? That even at 72, the body, though different, is still very much a companion on the journey. And so I wonder, as you read this, where do your walks take you? Do you prefer quiet paths in nature, the steady rhythm of city sidewalks, or perhaps a loop around your neighborhood where familiar faces greet you each morning? I'd love to know. Share your favorite walking locations in the comments. I know many people in their 70s who still try to walk as quickly as they did in their 40s, and often they end up frustrated or even in pain. Margaret, a 74-year-old woman I once spoke with, used to push herself to match her old jogging speed. She told me that every walk became a battle, her knees aching, her chest tightening, and instead of joy, she felt only discouragement. But then she gave herself permission to slow down, to let go of the comparison with her past self. Something shifted. She noticed her knees felt lighter, her breathing steadier, and she began to enjoy her walks again. What had once felt like a punishment turned into a daily gift. Her story is not about giving up, but about reclaiming the freedom to walk in a way that truly serves her body now. That's the wisdom of age, understanding that going slower doesn't mean doing less, it means doing what's right for you. Think about your own pace. Do you sometimes feel a little pressure to move faster, as if you have to prove you're still fit enough? Or maybe you find yourself comparing your current energy to the version of you from decades ago. If so, I want to remind you gently that your body is not failing you. It's simply asking you to treat it with more kindness. One practical way to find your natural rhythm is to pay attention to your breath. Try this. Walk at a pace where you can comfortably say a full sentence without gasping. That's the sweet spot. If you find yourself breathless, slow down. If you feel you could hold a casual conversation without strain, you found the right speed for that day. Notice how this may change from morning to evening, or from one day to the next.
That variation isn't a weakness, it's a sign that your body is alive and responsive. Another simple practice is to check in with your legs and feet after the first 10 minutes. Do they feel heavy or light, tense or steady? Adjust your pace accordingly. Walking is not about forcing your body into obedience, it's about partnership. Each day you walk, you renew that partnership. And that's where the real strength lies. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. The path you take is yours alone, and the speed you choose is the one that allows you to keep walking tomorrow and the day after that and for as many days as you wish. I know it can be hard to let go of the voice that says you should always do more, go faster, or push harder. But perhaps at this stage of life, the most courageous act is to listen instead of forcing, to move with grace rather than with pressure. That way, each step becomes an act of care, not a test of endurance. If this way of walking resonates with you, I invite you to stay connected here. Subscribe so you won't miss more reflections like these, gentle reminders that your journey matters at your own pace, in your own time. One of the most important things to understand as we walk through our 70s is that the body's inner mechanics are not the same as they once were. You might notice that your joints feel stiffer in the morning, or that muscles, which used to recover overnight, now take 2 or 3 days before they feel light again. This is not a sign that you are broken or that walking has become dangerous. It is simply the natural way your body changes with time. As we age, the fluid that keeps our joints cushioned and smooth, called synovial fluid, becomes less abundant. The cartilage that once felt almost springy may not absorb shock in the same way anymore. Muscles lose a bit of elasticity, bones need consistent weight-bearing movement to stay strong, and the heart, though still resilient, may ask you to pay closer attention to your breathing. All of these changes are part of the body's quiet conversation with age. When you know this, walking 6 miles is no longer about ignoring these signals, it's about learning how to work with them. Many people hear a little ache in the knee or tightness in the hip and think, maybe I shouldn't be walking anymore. But often, the pain is not a warning to stop, it's a gentle reminder to adjust. Sometimes it's as simple as wearing shoes with better cushioning, shifting your posture slightly more upright, or allowing a slower pace so that your body warms up gradually. I've spoken with people who believed their walking days were over, only to discover that a small change, a new pair of shoes, a softer surface like a park path instead of concrete, or adding 5 minutes of stretching afterward, transformed discomfort into comfort again. It's easy to believe the myth that pain means decline, but in truth, pain is just information. Your body is telling you something, and your role is not to fight it, but to listen. Imagine your body as a trusted companion. If a friend told you they were tired, you wouldn't scold them or demand they keep going at full speed. You would slow down, let them rest, maybe even change the plan so it suits them better. Why not treat yourself with that same kindness? Walking is not about pushing against age, but walking with it, hand in hand. So, when you feel a bit of soreness, ask gently, is this the kind of soreness that eases as I move, or is it the kind that deepens? Does adjusting my pace help? Does a different surface feel better? These questions are not tests, they are invitations to notice. And in that noticing lies the wisdom to keep moving safely and joyfully. The science is clear. Regular walking supports bone density, keeps joints nourished, and helps muscles maintain their strength. But the secret is not in the distance alone. It's in how you walk, in whether you allow your body to be heard. That's what makes the difference between walking as struggle and walking as nourishment.
What often makes walking at this stage of life sustainable are not the miles themselves, but the small rituals that surround them. These little habits act like gentle guardians, protecting your body and allowing each walk to become not just possible, but deeply nourishing. One of the simplest yet most overlooked choices is your footwear. Shoes that once felt fine may now press against your toes or fail to absorb the impact of harder surfaces. Look for a pair with a wide toe box so your feet can spread naturally, and cushioning that softens each step. Think of it as giving your feet the same care you would offer a guest in your home. You want them to feel welcome, comfortable, unstrained. It's not indulgence, it's wisdom. Hydration is another quiet protector. At 72, the body processes fluids differently than it once did. Drinking a large amount all at once can leave you feeling bloated or even dizzy. Instead, try taking small sips before and after your walk, just enough to keep your body refreshed without overwhelming it. The goal is not to flood, but to gently nourish. Notice how your body feels when you drink slowly and intentionally. There's a calmness even in that. Beginning your walk with 5 minutes at a slower pace can make a world of difference. This warm-up isn't about exercise in the traditional sense, it's about reminding your muscles and joints that movement is coming. It's like knocking softly before entering a room, rather than bursting in uninvited. When you give your body this courtesy, it responds with ease instead of resistance. After your walk, spend a few moments stretching, not with force, but with gratitude. Gently roll your ankles, stretch your calves, open your hips. These movements don't just prevent stiffness, they're a way of saying thank you to the body that carried you. Some people even find that creating a small post-walk ritual, like sitting quietly with a cup of tea or noting a few thoughts in a journal, deepens the experience. A simple question like, "How did my body feel today?" or "What did I notice on my walk?" can turn an ordinary outing into a practice of awareness. These notes become little markers of your journey, showing you patterns and reminding you of progress. And perhaps the most important ritual of all is kindness to yourself. If you wake up one morning and your body says, "Not today," listen to it. Rest is not laziness, it is part of the rhythm of staying well. Walk-in is not about forcing yourself to meet a number, but about creating a lifelong relationship with movement. Each small habit, your shoes, your water, your warm-up, your stretches, your reflections, becomes a thread in that relationship. Together, they weave a safety net, ensuring that your 6 miles are not a burden, but a blessing. And isn't that the point after all? To make movement something that sustains you, not something that drains you. There comes a moment when walking is no longer just about the body moving through space, but about the spirit settling into itself. At 72, the rhythm of 6 miles each day can feel less like exercise and more like a meditation, a chance to reconnect with the simplest truths of being alive. Each step becomes a reminder that you are still here, that your breath still flows, that the world still offers beauty waiting to be noticed. You may find yourself walking the same path again and again, yet somehow it is never the same. The light changes, the air feels different, your thoughts rise and fall like the steady sound of your footsteps. There is a deep comfort in this repetition, almost like prayer beads slipping one by one through your fingers. I've met people who told me they discovered their calm only after they stopped treating walking as a task. One man, David at 76, said that once he stopped counting miles and started paying attention to the trees, the sound of birds, even the cracks in the pavement, he felt lighter inside. His walks became less about reaching the end and more about savoring the middle. Isn't that a lesson for life itself? We spend so many years rushing to get somewhere, only to realize the journey was always the point. You might ask yourself gently, without pressure, when you walk, do you do it to reach a destination, or do you do it to feel alive in the moment? There is no right answer, only an invitation to notice what truly nourishes you. Perhaps today it is the quiet rhythm of your breath. Tomorrow it might be the laughter of children passing by, or the way your own thoughts soften with each mile. Walking like this can become an act of gratitude. Gratitude for the legs that still carry you, for the lungs that still fill with air, for the chance to see the world not from behind a window, but with your feet upon the earth. Even on days when energy feels low, the simple act of moving forward can remind you that life itself is still moving through you. And that awareness is worth cherishing. So as you continue your walks, remember, it is not only the distance that matters, but the meaning you give to each step. Walking is not just about maintaining health, it is about maintaining connection to your body, to the world, and to the quiet joy of being present.
I would love to hear from you. What do your walks mean to you? Are they moments of reflection, of freedom, of prayer, or simply a way to feel alive? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if these reflections have touched you, consider subscribing so we can keep walking this path together. Life together